Welcome to A Connection is a Connection, the show where we take a break from business talk and dive into the personal side of things. Today we're sitting down with Nicole to uncover the stories, quirks, and passions that may make them tick. Let's have some fun and get to know them like never before. First, give a warm welcome to our guest, Nicole. Woo! We're here to keep it light and fun, so let's jump into some questions. Before we get started, can you please give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Hello, my name is Nicole Farr. Sometimes I go by Coach Nikki. I'm a women's personal trainer and fitness coach.
Awesome. We're so happy to have you, and let's hop into some questions.
All right, Nicole, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. What's the most awkward thing that's ever happened to you on a first date?
I will say,
Or a couple?
I haven't done a whole lot of the online dating thing, and this is one of the reasons why. I did have one of those moments where showed up and the person looked absolutely nothing like their picture. Something like that. It was very funny. I mean, hung out through the date. It didn't click. I don't think it clicked for either of us. So it was, but I mean, I was almost like shocked at how different that person looked. I even went home, of course, had to share that with a friend of mine, and even my friend's husband was like, that's so weird for a guy to not look even like remotely like his photo, like even height-wise. He was this short little guy, but all his photos made him look really tall. And so it was kind of one of those shocking moments to kind of walk in and see somebody, a little bit of the facial features matched, but like just enough to think it was
a different person in the picture?
Not totally different.
Okay.
He just took some really good pictures of himself. Wow. Or had somebody take some really good pictures of himself. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
See, pictures can be deceiving sometimes.
Yeah, very much so.
Totally.
So it was kind of a one and done. So.
Oh my gosh.
All right. What's one hidden talent that you have that's completely useless?
I do think, and I haven't done it for a while, but I do think I have mastered like the patting your head, rubbing your belly kind of thing.
You got it.
There we go.
Okay.
I don't really know if that's even a talent, but
Let's just say it is.
Yeah.
Totally.
But it is completely useless.
True. What's a story from your past that still makes you cringe?
Thinking about this one, probably I had a pretty cringe-worthy living situation when I was in college, and just the home itself. And so I had several roommates, and I was leaving for the summer break between college years, and my roommates were going to stay. I went to school in Flagstaff, so they were going to stay in Flagstaff, and so they picked out the house that they were going to live in for the summer, and then I was going to move into the fall semester. And it literally was like a crack house. It was,
what?
Yeah. I mean, probably at one time, like the floors were even slanted, and it was just like elementary school carpeting, that real like commercial like small carpeting. It was just kind of this weird little nasty house, and I mean, some Flagstaff. I mean, this was many years ago. And so small town, it's a pretty safe town. There's not a whole lot, especially around the college campus. It's really not, all that bad, but as scary of a neighborhood as you could get in that area, this house was. And my mom will even say, like, when they dropped me off there, when they helped me move up, she's like, they pulled away and she cried because of knowing that they were leaving this house. And so the smart thing was my roommates, I think they only signed like a 6-month lease or something like that. So it was like up kind of halfway even through that first semester, and we got out of there. And so just got an apartment. But there was like a railroad, even the railroad tracks right behind the house. So you heard like anytime a train was going by.
That's crazy.
I don't even know how I slept
Do you have
there.
pictures of the house?
I don't think I did. I probably have some pictures of like the inside of the house, like of us, like, typical girls getting ready to go out and stuff like that. But I don't think I have any pictures of the outside of the house. So
nice. Well, that's interesting.
Definitely cringeworthy memory.
Definitely.
What's a fear you've conquered that you're proud of?
Fear I've conquered that I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we've had a few.
Yeah.
Like everybody's.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think probably even probably into the last couple of years of my life, I kind of have that type A personality, and I like to do everything myself, and I want it to be perfect all by myself.
Oh yeah.
And I have gotten so much better in recent years about asking for help when I don't understand something, especially as a business owner. You can't do it by yourself. And so kind of getting over my fear of speaking up or asking for help. And I mean, once I started doing it, it got so much easier. And so that's, yeah, definitely.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. So something that, I wouldn't always speak up. I would just try to shuffle through and either screw something up, kind of fail it, or somebody finally would step in. But now I've gotten so much better at asking for help before things like go too far gone.
Yeah. I think a lot of us struggle with that. Like, I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Yeah.
what's the most impulsive purchase that you've ever made, and do you regret it?
Impulsive purchase. I don't think I regret anything because I think it would pop into my head like a lot. I'm trying to think I'm trying to think of like some ugly pair maybe that I got like at one point. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with that one.
Or food?
Like
Food
anything.
yeah.
It can be
Anything.
An impulsive purchase.
No.
That wasn't on the list of questions that you said.
We have to put some
Spice it up a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
Totally. Nicole, so we have a special question that we usually ask every single one of our guests.
What are you doing for God?
I am a Christian. I do have a deep faith. I was raised Christian, so I've stuck pretty closely with that, and probably even more closely as an adult. One of the biggest things that I try to do on a daily basis is to be a light. And I try to even use that with my business. So I think about stuff I'm putting on social media, the way that I am interacting with people, especially when I'm face-to-face with somebody, whether it's a client or even just out in public, maybe running errands. It's such a dark world out there. So I try to be a light. I try to be as courteous and compassionate and, even just open-minded and nice to strangers as possible. And again, kind of, I think about that when I do my social media as well. And when I'm posting, what is something that really is helpful maybe to somebody else, inspiring, what's something light? I don't want to bring any more negativity or darkness into the world, causing any anger. Let's try to be more light.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, next question. What's the most embarrassing thing you did as a kid that your family still teases you about?
This one, and I don't know if it's as much embarrassing about me as probably my parents were more embarrassed, but I had this thing, and honestly, looking back when I was a little kid, I don't know why I would do this repetitively, but I think it has. I love to travel, so I think it had something to do with packing a suitcase, but I would try to run away from home often. And I would literally pack a suitcase, but it would mostly be like underwear and pajamas. So that's pretty much all it would be.
Hey, that's important.
Yeah.
And so this happened multiple times. And my mom, I was pretty young when I did it, but my mom reminds me of this often. So we do still talk about it. But I would plan the runaway. Of course, it was going to be at night. But in the afternoon, I would take the suitcase. And at this time, I had a best friend that lived 5 houses down. I would take the suitcase and I'd set it over in front of her house and just leave it there. And I'd go home, go to dinner, all that stuff. And my mom would get a phone call later in the evening from my friend's mom and be like, we have this suitcase, I think it's Nicole's. And it happened multiple times. So, I'm sure my parents were more embarrassed about that than I was. Why is my daughter having to run away from home? But honestly, I grew up in a good family. It was, I don't know why. I think it was the adventure of it all. I was going to go out on an adventure.
Sneaky.
Yeah, that, yeah. And I was going to go have an adventure. So I don't know what that was about, but.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction in public? Tell us everything.
I have. I guess I'll say I know how Janet Jackson feels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So probably, I guess, a little bit easier of a situation. This was another college story as well, but I can remember spring break, but we were down in Rocky Point, and we were just at the beach, and I can remember, just tanning ourselves, and luckily it was not a crowded day at the beach. And I got up from I had been laying on my stomach, and I had got up, and my bikini top had adjusted itself, and so I was not aware of it for a moment, and so finally, like, one of my friends was like, ah! And so,
Oh my God.
but again, I don't think too many people, or really anybody outside of my friend group, saw it. So
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's fine. What is the scariest experience you have ever had?
So I think as far as scary, so I did have, again, I love to travel, but I hate the process of traveling, having to go through airports and all that. And so several years ago, I was traveling, and so I had actually, it was kind of a big trip. I had met some friends in the Dominican Republic. So flying from Arizona, so I had to go to Florida, then fly down there. And so I was actually coming on the way back, had to go to Miami, which is like just the hugest airport in the world. It's so confusing and really interesting. I don't know what happened with the landing of the plane, and thrown under the bus. It was American Airlines, but they basically lost our flight. So here we are coming in from another country. We're supposed to go through customs and everything, and they did not like track our landing, and they didn't even like stop. They didn't even funnel us through customs. They kind of just like shoved us out in the airport, and it was like this mass chaotic thing. And then all of a sudden, loudspeakers were coming. They were calling everybody back from that flight. And it ended up being just a really chaotic process. They had lost or misplaced our luggage because, again, they didn't track this flight.
Wow.
And so I had to go through customs. This was all just to get back in the country. I was still going to have to catch another flight. And so I ended up being late to catch that flight, but then it was okay because that flight was delayed. They were having engine problems. And so it was one of those long trips back. So I had to fly, I think, from there to North Carolina, to Charlotte, and then Charlotte was finally going to get me back to Phoenix, but then it was too late at night. By the time the engine troubles got fixed, we finally got into Charlotte. All the flights were done for the day, so they shuffled us up to a hotel. But it was just one of those, I was running through airports. Luggage was lost. I was they lost me. I had to keep going through it was a nightmare. It really was. So it's I'll always remember it because it was just a nightmare thing. And so I try to avoid Miami if at all costs.
The airport's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So travel nightmare.
Okay. You're stuck in an elevator for 3 hours with your worst enemy. What's your game plan?
So this goes back to a little bit about me being the light. And so when you're stuck in that tiny space, my worst enemy, I mean, honestly, there's really nothing you can do at that point. So why hate on each other for that time? So, I probably would, try to come up with just some small talk, some niceties. I'm not going to bring it, we're not going to make it it's already a bad situation.
Yeah.
So why make it worse by going down a dark hallway? So, so I think just, and maybe that would resolve any issues. I don't know. But, if you're stuck in that situation, you might as well do the best you can and at least try to have a friendly conversation, entertain yourself.
Yeah, and not fight the whole time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
who knows how long you'll be stuck. If your house was on fire and you could only save one non-living thing, what would it be?
That's a hard one, I know, because there's of course, so much stuff you want to grab. And of course, in the light of everything going on in LA, I have been thinking about that. Probably.
You have 5 minutes.
It probably really would be my laptop, just because I have photos saved on there now. And plus, everything kind of lives, on your electronic devices, on your laptop. So I think, especially because it's got photos on it right now, then that would be, the primary reason I would go for that.
Sure.
Yeah, save
Yeah.
those memories.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Nicole, it's been such a pleasure to have you as a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Can you give us a 30-second commercial of yourself and what you do and how people can connect with you?
Yes, thank you. So I am a women's fitness coach primarily for women over 40, and I specialize in helping women move through chronic pain and fatigue. So both movement-wise, and we also work on nutrition to help resolve issues there. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I do it both in person, but also offer virtual and online programming to make it most convenient for my clients. And most people can find me on my website, nikifitaz.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and stay tuned for the next interview.